In 2009, goalkeeping legends like Gianluigi Buffon and Edwin van der Sar were at the absolute primes of their careers with peak athleticism, acrobatics, and reactions. Watching them defend the goal at the height of their powers was truly incredible. However, as legendary as those all-time great goalkeepers were, some might find it hard to believe that the goalkeeper who took all the attention that year was actually a 40-year-old goalkeeper. That's right, you didn't hear me wrong. A guy who was nearly twice as old as Manuel Neuer at the time would break records left and right. Edwin van der Sar, at 40 years old, was insane, completely stunning football fans throughout the world. For other footballing professionals at the top, though, as crazy as it sounds, they weren't exactly all that surprised. After all, it only made sense when that old man goalkeeper just happened to be named Edwin van der Sar. At 40 years old, he set a world record for the most time without conceding a single goal. An insane 1,311 minutes before a football would ever get past him. In case you have a little difficulty comprehending those numbers, that resulted in another record-breaking 14 consecutive clean sheets, the most recorded by any goalkeeper in football history. In fact, that very same season, he maintained a total of 21 clean sheets and became the oldest goalkeeper to ever win the Premier League Golden Glove, UEFA's Goalkeeper of the Year award, and Europe's Best Goalkeeper. But that's not even the most surprising thing about van der Sar's career. For those who don't know, this might blow your mind. Let's put this into perspective. David De Gea is Manchester United's most capped goalkeeper, staying with the club for an incredible 12 years. Despite how the club did kind of do him dirty, leaving him as a free agent for the entire season until he finally signed with another club at the current age of 34, Edwin van der Sar didn't sign with Manchester United and become a Red Devil until he was at the ripe young age of 35. Yeah, you heard that right, 35. Sir Alex Ferguson would only spend a total of €2 million for one of the greatest goalkeepers in football history. As cheap as that might sound, they actually paid double the price than they really should have. Before moving to Manchester United, van der Sar played with Fulham and loved that club and their fans so much that instead of his contract running out and Manchester United stealing him for pennies, he decided to sign with the Cottage Club just a single season longer for the sole purpose of allowing Fulham to sell him for a higher fee and to get some extra revenue. But if that story doesn't just speak to the character of Edwin van der Sar, it also goes to show that people only really know him for his time at United. The legendary career of this all-time goalkeeper goes much deeper than just those relatively brief 6 seasons at United. Van der Sar had been a world-class goalkeeper from the very beginning. Growing up in the Netherlands, a country with one of the highest average heights in the world, standing at 198 centimeters or 6 feet 6 inches, people started giving him the nickname Scarecrow. Despite being a size that would make the goal look smaller than it actually was, he had incredible reflexes and acrobatic athleticism. That's why Louis van Gaal himself reached out all the way to his amateur third division club just to sign him onto Ajax. By the age of 22, van der Sar had already broken into the first team and was regularly appearing as their starting goalkeeper. Ajax would trust him so much that he would be put in front of goal for their biggest campaigns, where Ajax lifted the Champions League title in 1995. Van der Sar would win the Best Goalkeeper in Europe award at just 24 years old. The next season, he and Ajax made it back to the Champions League final once more, and despite losing to Juventus in penalty shootouts, van der Sar was so dominant at defending the goalpost that he would be named the Dutch Goalkeeper of the Year for 4 consecutive seasons, from 1994 to 1997. In his 6 seasons as an undisputed starter for Ajax, van der Sar conquered Dutch football completely, winning 4 Eredivisie titles, 3 Dutch Cups, 3 Dutch Super Cups, and a Champions League title. Hilariously enough, the only achievement left for him as a goalkeeper was to score a goal, which Ajax actually let him do. He scored the only goal of his entire career off a penalty during his last season with the club. Now he was ready to take the next step in his career. Imagine this. In their over 100-year history, Juventus had never once had a non-Italian player defending their goal, but they were willing to break over a century-long tradition, all for the 28-year-old van der Sar. If that's not a testament to how good he was, I don't know what is. But ironically, his time in Italy would be the only time in his career that his once untouchable reputation would be questioned. Under his 2 seasons with Carlo Ancelotti, although statistically they had the best defense in the league with the least goals conceded, they would lose the 1999-2000 Serie A title by just a single point, conceding a total of only 20 goals. By all means, Van der Sar did a fantastic job. Sure, they could have scored more goals to win more matches, but he did everything he could. That being said, Juventus fans would channel all the blame towards him because during the literal final match of the season, Van der Sar would get beaten on a volley, conceding his 20th goal for the season and allowing Lazio to overtake Juventus for the Serie A title. The very next season, they would again finish runner-ups by just 2 points, and once again, despite having the best defense in the league, Van der Sar would take all the blame for another high-profile blunder that resulted in a tie with Roma, allowing Juventus to once again lose the Serie A title. Juventus would eventually break transfer records to sign Gianluigi Buffon, and Van der Sar would leave Italy with a disappointing run. Although he was incredibly solid overall, his brilliance was overshadowed by those 2 single moments, and many clubs seemingly forgot just how good he could be. Especially back then, goalkeepers weren't defined by their brilliance or consistency, but instead by their mistakes. Even though he also conceded 0 goals for the Netherlands in the 2000 Euros, only being eliminated in penalty shootouts in the semi-final against Italy because the Dutch penalty takers couldn't convert, it felt like everyone had amnesia and forgot just how quality he was. That's why, instead of joining another massive club, it was sort of a surprise that he signed with a club that had just been newly promoted to the Premier League, Fulham. They were a much weaker side than Van der Sar was used to, and because they kept getting scored on and finished season after season near the bottom of the table, Van der Sar slowly moved out of the spotlight. However, he grew to quickly love the club and its fans, saying that they had the nicest and friendliest atmosphere he'd ever experienced in his career thus far. But many who never watched Fulham would slowly start to forget about Van der Sar throughout the years. No matter how good the goalkeeper is, be it Oliver Kahn, Neuer, Buffon, or Casillas, without a strong defense or midfield, you're going to get scored on a lot. After 4 seasons, already in his mid-30s, Van der Sar's popularity was but a fraction of what it was back in his days at Ajax. But there was one man who never forgot his quality, Sir Alex Ferguson. He understood that even at 35 years old, Van der Sar was still world-class. Once more, with quality midfield and defense to support him, the chances of a ball ever getting past Van der Sar were about to get significantly lower. This was also a time when football was shifting to a more televised sport, with better picture quality, more abundant viewings, and easier access for global fans. Now, playing for one of the most popular clubs in the world, his goalkeeping greatness would really be on display for the first time to many newer and more casual fans. What made the nearly 2-meter goalkeeping giant truly hard to score on was a combination of surprising speed, reflexes, positioning, and composure. Whether it was a point-blank or long-range strike, for his size, his reaction speed was extraordinary. When you see a guy of his size being able to leap acrobatically, using his full wingspan to cover every corner of the goal, trying to get the ball past Van der Sar was a challenge. Despite his age, Van der Sar's reaction time was among the best in the world. It didn't matter if it was a knuckleball that was swerving or an unintended deflection from a defender's foot, he had the reflexes to react instantly. Without a doubt, one of the most underrated parts of Van der Sar's game was his composure. If he was being hard-pressed by the opposition, it didn't matter. He could stay calm and get the ball out of the way. In one-on-one situations, you would never see him panic. Of course, occasionally he would get beat, but more often than not, he knew exactly what to do. Plus, the way that he could distribute the ball to his defenders, and to some extent even his midfielders, made Manchester United an even more terrifying squad, as they could avoid the press by giving the ball to Van der Sar, who could advance it with his incredible passing. His composure was on display most during high-pressure penalty situations, some people might call a beast. So that's a wrap-up, folks. If you like this video, then share your thoughts in the comments section below.